And we're live. Welcome back to the Wildlands Campaign. So, last time, our brave party worked out a way, seized an opportunity to rescue a bunch of slaves, including Bref's former sea brother, from slavery, from the clutches of the thief kings at the Bandit Moot. You did so by stealing an airship right out from under the noses of the Steeltooth Pack. And in fact, some of the members of that crew are still aboard the ship, having been somewhat cowed into submission by threats and a show of bravado. You've also taken the slaves up on board the ship and helped them out of their cage and saved their lives, including Orinar and this spellcaster called Sarah. That was last week's dramatic session. And we pick up tonight's game as soon as Equitas has the notebook. All right. We pick up tonight's game as you sail out in the middle of the night over the expanse of desert and away from the bright orange flames exploding outward from the bandit camp behind you.
We probably shouldn't be encouraging this, but that was a really clutch fire.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Something I just learned.
So, what do we do now? Are we still going west?
I think that's
Sure.
the plan so far.
Yeah. I think, yeah, that's the best thing. Now, we know, I remembered a little bit about the, what Krim was saying about the standing stones on the 9th of Mariko. And I think we might know where that is if we want to. I mean, I know that it's not, that's like a week or 10 days away right now.
It's 2 days north of us.
Right.
Okay, but we have all of these people who probably don't want to. We have to get them to safety.
Exactly. And yes, I agree. So I think that we should stick to the original plan and go from there. Yeah. Which is headed to Westhead.
I think that was the general idea.
Do we know where it is?
We had an estimate. We did not get confirmation one way or the other. I want to say it was by the coast. So maybe 212.
Yeah, I think that was the best guess. Okay. Do we want to? How is the boat with the slaves and the crew and us? Is the boat getting crowded? Is it, or is there more people on the boat than it's designed to carry?
Not at all.
Okay.
You kind of have a skeleton crew at the moment between Bref, Orinar, and the 3 surviving Steeltooth Pack members.
Okay. And well, I had another thought and then it just left me, so never mind.
At the moment, you are all damaged, exhausted, and somewhat exhilarated, leaving the burning camp behind you. It's 1:30 in the morning, and the moon is shining on the desert below.
Okay. Well, we definitely need some rest. What? Okay. Do we need to find out about the ship and how long we think it might stay in the air? I think we need to find somebody, see if there's a member of the crew that might know something about that. Because we don't even know if it has enough power.
Enough juice, yeah.
To get us to West Head.
Well, no. Now, Orinor thought that there were a couple weeks at least.
Oh, okay. I don't guess I remember that, but okay, good.
He said a week, at least.
And we are right at a week away from West Head, if my calculations are correct. If somebody wants to double check.
But assuming that we're traveling at the same speed, we're traveling by airship now.
I imagine we'll probably pick up the pace a bit.
Okay. See, don't know anything about these ships, so that's glad to have people who know what they're doing.
The only thing, just looking ahead, the one thing we definitely want to watch out for is 412 and 511. We got some hills and mountains that might. I mean, I imagine we'd see them coming, but we certainly do not want to bonk into those.
Gosh, I hope we see them coming.
Do we want to have a talk with the crew, or do we want to rest before we do that? Because some of the crew, I don't know. I mean, a couple of hours ago, they were trying to kill us.
Yeah, we should probably clear that up before we go too much further.
Yeah.
Bella, you went down below decks?
I've been, yes.
Did you notice a brig?
What's that?
Prison.
Oh, no, I don't think there was a prison down there.
And I forget the fate of the iron cage got tossed overboard?
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have done that.
You did? I thought we pulled it up onto the ship.
I think I said to drop it. That
Yeah, I think in a symbolic gesture, we dropped it overboard.
Yeah.
It felt right at the time.
We have a lot of rope. I'm not too worried about that. I'm just wondering, we certainly want to communicate that we have no intention of harming any of you if you don't try and harm us.
And if we do, then we're going to throw you overboard.
Yeah. And then, let's all get a night's rest. We're all exhausted, and we will discuss the plans for the ship in the morning. Which would be a lot easier if there's a brig. And even then, maybe they know that there's a secret way out of the brig. Even that I wouldn't entirely trust without someone on watch the whole time.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to set up watches. But we have all these slaves now. And maybe we
I
could
don't think
ask
that
them.
came how you wanted that to come out.
I don't know their names.
Former slaves?
We
There
are
you go.
here. We are here with all these slaves now.
It's just a ship full of new friends who don't owe us anything, but would maybe like to do us a favor anyway between friends.
I like imagining that Bella is saying this a mite louder than normal just to make sure they hear her.
That's probably true. I'm the captain now. I have to speak louder.
Have to command authority.
Exactly. That's the one thing that everyone always says about me is how authoritative I am.
I think I found one of Ecotus's kinks.
Authoritarianism?
Yeah,
Have you met him?
Yeah, that's what I'm always saying is how hot I
Secretly.
think authority is.
It's one of his, deeper buried ones.
I mean, look, what you guys do in the bedroom is no one's business but your own.
Have you told? Never mind. Okay. So we're gonna talk to the crew, tell them, hey, you don't have anything to worry with us if we don't have anything to worry with you. No harm, no foul, whatever that expression might mean. And we need to rest and point ourselves in a 212-ish direction. Is that right?
That sounds like the plan.
I like the city as a destination with all of these people because then hopefully, we can't take every individual person to where their home is, but if they're at a major city, then hopefully they can find some kind of passage there.
Right. And
And
maybe
there's a
look like
bit
it has a
more of
port.
a guarantee of safety, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the other thing, is that we thought it was a little less likely that the pirates would decide to just lay siege to a city over this kind of thing. Not impossible, but less likely.
Sounds like a good plan.
Were those D100s for the number of slaves that we now have? Because that seems like a lot.
No. There were 6 people in addition to Orinar and Sarah, whom you've met. You hauled 6 people up on board the deck of the airship. One is an old man. One is a middle-aged woman. One is her child. There is a. Those are all humans. And there is also a female dwarf and a male elf.
How many members of the crew are left on the ship?
3.
3. Okay.
Oh, because one of them fell off. Oh.
3 have survived.
I
Or
miss them.
Akiri's grateful for that.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
I should say none of them are doing. They're all knocked out, actually.
I thought we still had most of them up.
They were, until a thief king, attacked the ship with a bunch of psychic daggers in the shape of a skull. A cloud of psychic daggers in the shape of a skull. And knocked everyone out.
Oh,
maybe
then,
we ought to take care of them.
in that case, local cleric's gonna go do cleric-y things.
Oh, that would be a
Okay.
good time for us to have the talk with them also. And I don't mean like the sex talk.
I sure hope not.
Well, if they need it.
Ikiri isn't gonna use any spells, it's just spare the dying.
Okay. You're talking about the crew?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when we're like actually ready to talk with them, then she'll get everyone up. But until then, it's just
Okay.
yay.
Same on the... What about the slaves?
She'll use spells on those.
So
I'll have to
Akiri is
be-
going to move amongst the unconscious folk, ministering to their somewhat frightening injuries. Which, like the ship, bits of them are crumbling away. Until the healing magic takes hold.
Yeah, it'll be something to look at fixing in the morning.
Your airship sails on as you are having this discussion. It's now a little past 2 in the morning. I have advanced the calendar to the 23rd of Fiexi.
All right, well, we should somehow lock up the crew for now. Or at least put a guard over them in a secluded place and let them sleep it off.
Yeah, I was gonna
Maybe
say
there's
if
just like a
Yeah, I was probably about to say what you were about to say, so go ahead.
yeah, if there's just like a straight up room that we can lock them in
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't have any weapons in it or that has removable weapons.
Post somebody at the door all the time.
Exactly.
What might be a good idea is we make sure nobody dies, and then we all sleep, and then we all talk about this in the morning.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I can go with that.
Because I'm really tired. And I don't have very many spell slots left.
Then yeah, do that, and then let's rest and yeah, do that.
Once revived, Orinar resumes his spot next to you at the tiller. And says, what's our heading?
We're going west. To West Head.
Aye, aye. I can take the take the wheel until 3 bells.
All right, I'll relieve you then. Does anyone else know how to keep us going in a straight line?
I don't even know.
Not on a boat.
True, if we were on the ground, I could. Or
Well,
if we were on
now,
the ground, I might be able to.
Akiri,
That's what I was just thinking too. But she doesn't have any experience with boats. She only flies.
Perhaps it would be best if we did not try to make ground, but furl the sails once we're well away from the camp.
That might be best until everyone's had a rest.
But doesn't the magic happen when the sails unfurl? Won't we crash?
That's all. We only needed to unfurl the sails to leave the ground.
Okay. As long as we don't crash, I take your word for it.
It really sounded like you said take your bird for it.
I would only say that to you.
I'll take your bird for that.
That's the most piratey sentence ever. Oh my word. Alright,
Says one of the Steeltooth Pack in his sleep.
it might be a good idea if we went higher up in the sky, so it's harder for anyone really to get to us.
Yeah, we don't want to get too high, because then we have to worry about freezing.
But at least cloud level might be a good idea.
Depends on what kind of clouds we're talking about.
Normal cloud level?
Warner says,
I think
this boat, as far as I've seen, can only go about 500 feet up.
Yeah, I'm thinking anything higher than that, we're going to start getting into risky territory anyway. So, yeah, I mean, I agree we should go higher. Maybe eyeball it to about 400 to 450, and then set it to hover at that point.
I guess Ornar, as even though I haven't mentioned it, he's got deep circles under his eyes, and he is very weary looking, as are all of the people on board ship with you.
Well, I took a short rest, so I'm perfectly happy to, take a
Also
watch.
had a really nice health potion.
Yes, thank you for that.
Oh, well, if we're furling the sails, there's no need for you to keep a watch over now. You go get rest. You take the others, find some comfortable bunks, and bed down for the night.
He says, I'm comfortable right here. And just kind of slumps next to you.
Okay, let's get you down below decks.
There's hammocks down those stairs there. Why doesn't everybody sleep? And I'll take first watch. I'll keep an eye on it. We won't crash into anything.
Okay. You guys heave on the ropes, furl the sails a bit. The ship may drift a little, without being anchored. You've left the... How far do you want to go from the bandit camp? This night.
As far as we can.
I don't know what that means.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna hover, then probably not. Out of at least like a day's walking journey, I would think. What do we think
That's
about
pretty
that?
far away, though.
Is it? Okay. I don't know then. Like I said, I don't know jack about ships. I don't know jack ship.
At least a few hours, because then you guys will have time to rest. And by the time we encounter any trouble, hopefully everyone will feel better.
Can we still see the fires?
At the moment, yes.
Then let's get a eye shot.
Yeah, we need to definitely book it away from that.
Yeah.
You'll be able to see the fires for a while, since you're high up in the air, and it's
That's
visible in the
true,
dark
yeah.
for a long distance.
That makes sense.
So you'll be able to see them for a while. Also, it's not like mountains or anything. You know, it's wide open, flat desert. So you'll be able to see it for a while. But okay, so I need to know who is staying awake for the next few hours while you put some serious distance. The ship goes about, unless you're picking up the pace, its average speed is about twice as fast as going by foot. Or about the exact same speed that Akiri flies. So its speed is about twice as fast. So if you go for 3 hours into the night, then it'll be about the same as if you walked for 6. So I need to know who's going to be awake for the next few hours, because you're gonna have to make a check.
I will stay up.
Okay.
And I will insist.
And I will.
I will insist or not go down and sleep.
Okay. He says, "Yes. Aye, aye." And then he slumps over onto you.
Akiri might be useful, so she'll stick around if you guys think you'll need her.
Everyone who's not finding a bunk or a hammock down below, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, please. And tell me the result.
11.
18.
$17.
Okay. None of you take a point of exhaustion, but you still feel tired. You're alert, but you can feel the exhaustion coming. It's quiet. The ship creaks in the wind, the light wind that's blowing up here. You can see the desert falling away beneath you. Gradually, the flickering orange lights shrink in the distance. All around the ship, people gradually, if they were awakened by being healed, they gradually go to sleep. There are some sounds of nightmares. And some tears of joy as people realize that you are not going to sell them back into slavery and have rescued them from the bandit camp.
Do we notice the crew stirring at all?
Nobody seems to have any wakefulness or fight in them. None of them really get up, no. I mean, they were never healed. They were just stabilized. So they were all out cold. The only sign of movement would be shivering in their sleep.
Can Akiri go find some blankets?
Yeah?
And see if she can cover them.
There are actually plenty of blankets.
Heck yeah. She's gonna go make them as warm as possible so they don't, die on her.
Okay. Well, about 3 hours pass in this peaceful manner up in the sky. The lights of the camp are quite distant at this point. It's here in the dark of the night that I need whoever's awake to roll a D100 for me.
All three of us?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good spread.
Well, either
Okay.
Brett or Akiri just ruined our night.
Right.
I'm going to ask Bref and Akiri to make perception rolls.
19.
13.
Bref, you hear Ornar muttering in his sleep. Not forming words exactly, but it sounds like things fearful. It sounds, you can tell the emotion is fearful, anxious.
Does he have a blanket?
I'm sure Akiri would have provided that.
If it looked like he needed one, she definitely would have.
I tuck the blanket in close around him.
That seems to calm him a bit. Well, if you guys want to continue staying up, I'm going to ask for another Constitution saving throw.
I think at this point, after the 3 hours or so, we're going to furl the sails and float for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Okay. It's 5 a.m. Still pitch black, except for the stars and the wandering moon. Do you guys go to sleep?
I do. Do we want to wake up other people for watches?
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I'll wake up Mavro for a watch.
Okay. Mavra, you are awakened. You only got a few hours, but time to stay awake and keep an eye out. So go ahead and make a perception roll for me as the three of you go to sleep.
Eight.
You're tired. It's hard to keep an eye out. You feel like you keep starting and awake. There's nothing there. I'm going to ask you to roll a D100 for me. Okay. breath. You have a dream. In your dream, you see a rocky cliff over the ocean. Seems a little familiar. You may have seen this coastline before, but it's night. It's dark. It's pitch black, but for the stars and the wandering moon. Looking down over the cliff, you can see a cluster of lights, indicating a huge, square-rigged ship down on the dark waters below. You glance about and you realize you're looking over the shoulder of two humans, sentries, armed and armored in dark uniforms, keeping watch. Next to them is a large bell hung on a wooden frame with a log tied ready to ring it. One of the sentries is a short woman with sharp features and a slightly disheveled uniform visible under her large cloak. Despite her bright white hair, she is young and wiry. Looking down at the cluster of lights, she says, "Is that her ship?" The other one, a man, taller, shakes his head. By contrast, his hair is greasy and unkempt, though his weapons are well polished. He says, "No, it can't be. The Steeltooth Pack raided far north a few days ago." She responds, "It looks like the Distant Spirit. I swear that's her ship." The male sentry says, "You don't know what you're talking about. The Duke's Guard needs to stop sending me idiots. I'm telling you, that's not possible." The woman pulls out a spyglass and shifts position to get a better look among the rocky crags. In that strange way that dreams have, your vision shifts. And you are now looking down, almost as if you're traveling along the line of her spyglass. And can see the ship's name painted in elegant letters on the hull. As it crashes over a wave, you see the ship, Distant Spirit, in all of its glory. Tough-looking pirates scrambling amongst the rigging in the orange glow of lanterns on board the ship. The woman says, "I knew it. Captain Puck LeBlanc is on that ship." She snaps her spyglass closed and looks at her fellow, shifting position again on the rocks as the two of them track the movement of the lantern specks below. The man says, "Actually, you don't know that. And even if she somehow got to us from raiding Roturum a few days ago, she's probably signed with the Duke by now." The woman says, "Who's saying things they don't know? She can't have gotten on the right side of the law just yet. We need to ring the bell. Raise the alarm for Westhead and Duke Rothdal. The man says, there are big things happening here. Bigger than us. We need to be careful. He reaches out to help the shorter woman down from her precarious perch on the rocks. She says, careful is exactly what I'm saying. He says, even if she hasn't been chartered by the Duke already, what in all the hells do you think is going to happen when we sound an alarm? The ship will fire on us. We'll be pincushions. Their voices rise to hoarse, angry whispers in your dream, as you can also see the pirate ship's lanterns pass below the dark cliffs. The woman says, you're being a coward. What's the point of being up here if we don't ring the bell when a ship comes to Westhead? She points, and your vision follows the line of her finger, and you see the grand port city of Westhead, lit up with its own night torches, and tier upon tier of buildings rising up the black coast. Notably, the Duke's palace stands impressively towering over the harbor. The man looks up and sighs. There's just good reasons you don't know about. The white-haired woman gives an odd smile and turns, walking toward the bell. The man, who looks regretful, pulls out a hand crossbow, the bolt at the end of which glitters in the moonlight. He says, I'm sorry, but I've been paid way too much money to stop that bell from ringing. He pulls it back, which makes a clicking sound. The woman hears and spins around, pulling out a small hand crossbow of her own from somewhere within her cloak. She snaps out a bolt faster than he can pull the trigger, knocking his weapon out of his hand. He looks from his weapon to his hand and back to her in shock. She looks angry. You kidding me? Paid for quiet, but you pull a weapon on me. Genius. He looks baffled. What? She rolls her eyes and removes her hat and cloak, reversing them. She pushes out the top of the hat and the cloak's collar, and they become a brightly colored, flamboyant outfit. Full pirate regalia. She laughs confidently at the man's utter bafflement. She says, was playing you all along, sweetie. New girl being sentry and all. I had to make sure no one announced my crew bringing the ship into port. He says, but why? I was paid by your crew. Why go through all this? She says, I like to handle the details personally. You're a bit dim, but you're a good trader. Want to join my crew on the Distant Spirit? As he begins to respond, the captain pulls him to the edge of the cliff to watch the grand ship pull into port down below them. The ship looms threateningly over the coast. He says, wow, really? I definitely will. My friends will never believe me when I tell them I met the real Captain Puck LeBlanc. Her face falls. Oh. I really wish you hadn't said that. She kicks the back of his knee to drop the taller sentry, then crushes his windpipe with a blow from the side of her hand. For a moment, he chokes, staring up into her smiling eyes. Then she lets him drop. She says, "Damn. It's so hard to get good help these days. Time to negotiate with Duke Rothdal. Now that I've got my beautiful cannon in the Duke's own harbor." Within her cloak, she throws her arms wide. A series of mechanical struts shoot out, linking together and pulling the cloak to create a pair of mechanical wings. With that, she kicks off the cliff and beats the wings. Puck LeBlanc swoops down past the ship and toward the Duke's palace. The gust from the wings blows dust in your dream. Dust past the hanging log, which rocks back and forth in the wind, and then taps the bell, which rings. And you awaken as the sun is high in the sky the next morning. The dark dream all over.
Oh, what a wild dream. I'm sure it had no extra meaning to it, and I have no need to tell my friends what I saw. No, once we all gather together for breakfast, I will relay what happened in my dream. We may not want to fly straight into West Head.
Right. Okay. Well, that's actually really helpful information. Thank you, Dream Breath.
Dude, that's really cool that she had wings. I really like that. She's definitely evil, so I don't think I'd want to meet her, but like, gotta admit, that's pretty cool.
It's extremely cool, and we probably will meet her. But we should maybe take an alternate route into the city. I don't really know very much about the port there, but looking at the map, it looks like we definitely don't want to enter from the north. Maybe, I wonder if it would be possible to send messengers ahead. I don't think I've ever been to West Head. I don't really know the etiquette of entering the city.
This morning, Orinar is once he awakens, is all smiles. Everyone who has been rescued thanks you guys profusely for your help. And the ship's food stores are raided. And a small feast is had. What can be scrounged up from down below. The wine begins to be poured roundabout, and people begin partying here in the wintry desert sun.
So did we get a full night's rest?
Yeah, I assume you sleep in some of the next day, unless you don't want to.
No, I definitely would like to get a full night. Yeah.
Okay, so you sleep in some, in through some of the next day, and are able to get a full night's rest. And you guys can start moving as well, with only some of you awake, if you wish.
Something that I want to do, since it is, because when I communed last with the Seal of Fire and Shadow, it was the 28th of Jaxu, and it says it takes a week to commune with it. So something that I want to keep in mind is that I probably need to start doing that right now, probably.
If you want to keep in practice.
Yeah. So I'm doing that, for a week.
Okay.
To keep it up.
Okay. I guess that makes sense. You won't be able to contribute to, various things as you travel as much.
Okay.
But you can, since you're on board of a ship, an airship, then you might be able to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I'm going to talk to probably Mercy. She seemed like to know the most about what was going on the ship. And ask her what are the details of who exactly this ship was borrowed from, who put the enchantment on it, because that's going to need to get solved somehow before we crash into the mountainside.
The red-haired woman who was beaten over the head by Mavra is nursing a monstrous headache. And she looks up at you and says, I don't know if I would know, but I think we had about a week's left on the enchantment.
And are they expecting the boat back?
Think so.
Okay, where did we sail from?
Well, I shipped out from Westhead, but I think the enchanter who the enchantress that made the boat is somewhere between here and there.
Interesting.
So you didn't see where the enchantment was placed?
R.
Now, see, I know that can mean yes or no.
She shrugs. Not super inclined or able to be helpful as she's just rubbing her head like this.
Look, how about you come and join us on deck and have some food? We have no intention of hurting anybody. We're heading towards Westhead now. If you want to get off there, fine. Go tell Captain Puck that we kidnapped you and tied you up and threw you in the bilge. We don't care. We're not going to hurt you. We just want to make sure we don't fall down and die out of the sky. I mean, that wouldn't help anyone.
I care a little bit if you say that, but I'm not going to stop you. Just my 2 cents here.
Well, I think the enchantress is somewhere in the woods. Northwest of here.
Maybe it's the obelisk.
That's what I was just thinking. I was like, 410 looks tasty.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, The Washington Monument.
I know this map kind of exists outside the game, but also inside the game. Do we know what these symbols stand for as players?
Not really. Although, if you've been paying attention, you may learn.
Nice.
Well, there was definitely a dragon at that dragon picture.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
think of it as though you've heard rumors of what is in various locations, and that is represented by the shape of the icon on the map. And then, of course, it's up to you to take notes, and once you've actually been there and have seen what it is.
So since we don't necessarily want to head straight into Westhead, do we want to head to this enchantress first?
I think that might not be a bad idea at all. I think I would vote for that. I think the longer we can keep the ship afloat, the better, right?
Sure. And if we return it to her, maybe she'll be our friend. I mean, just because she had dealings with Puck LeBlanc doesn't mean that she's, opposed to us.
I mean, probably. Right now I'm working on the assumption that it was nothing but a transaction.
Also, she's gonna be really pissed at Puck LeBlanc because we stole the ship from her. Like, she failed keeping hold of the ship hardcore.
I don't know. I mean, she probably got paid for what she did, and that's probably all she cares about.
True. But she's also no.
Yeah, let's try to find this enchantress. What do you think, Captain?
Yes, absolutely. 100%. I was going to say that.
Aye, Captain. And Kiri does like this really fancy mock salute just to mess with her.
Would Akiri have a person on her shoulder? Because pirates have birds on their shoulder.
She does now!
Like a little doll.
If there's anyone big enough, Akiri will sit on someone's shoulder. Oh, that's a great idea for an NPC pirate group. It's just like this massive captain, and then they have like an Aarakocra on their shoulder and says, "You're welcome, guys."
All right. So, where are you guys turning your...
Well, she said the woods northwest of here.
If we go dead northwest, we hit it. Intense key noises.
Yeah, I'm not sure what might be there dead northwest. I don't think that's woods, though.
Yeah, it is. There's trees.
Oh, maybe you're right. Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe that is trees. Okay, let's do that.
Northwest.
Okay. So you turn the Owl's Talon northwest.
Kiri approves of the name.
And begin traveling that direction. You are going to be going about twice as fast on the airship as you guys would travel otherwise. The people on board are quite happy to go wherever you want to take them, since they are not being asked to do any slave work. Although they variously would like to be able to go home.
Question. To Max and the group, do you think we should repair the ship?
Oh, I think as we travel, that should definitely be something we do as we are able to, at least.
Do we know how to repair the ship?
I mean, I don't know the magical side of it, but I know at least the practical. Like the pieces of sail that broke apart, I can patch,
Okay, cool.
And
assuming the
we can
dice.
probably help you out. Like, you can tell us, nail this plank here and paint this with tar and stuff. So we'll help you out if you give us direction.
You can certainly give it a shot.
Maybe that ought to be something that we do after we land and talk and get it enchanted, or maybe as it's getting enchanted or something. I don't know.
I wonder if the enchantment stays there, even though the wood itself isn't there, or is that not how that works?
That's a serious ship of Theseus type of question. Like,
I'm sorry.
is it
What was that word?
is it the same ship when it gets repaired? Anyway, getting philosophical.
If you regenerate all your cells every 14 years.
That's right. Are you the same person you were 10 years ago?
Yeah. Anyway, so shall we continue on?
All right. Who is going to contribute to helping you guys travel safely through the air on your airship?
So I'm not sure what check this would be, but I think Bref would leap into action to fix the sails, those parts that fell apart last night. I would try and mend.
So you're going to try and mend the ship as you go. Do some on the spot repairs.
On the
Yes.
fly.
Yes.
Okay. It is at 37 HP out of 100, so possibly a good idea.
He's a little ragged.
So I mean, I'm thinking survival, but I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've done vehicular travel.
It's like a weird combination, I feel like, of like intelligence and dexterity.
Oh my god, that's huge.
Itty bitty ship, really big name.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get rid of that.
It was a good thought.
Okay. So you want to know what kind of check that would be? Well, it might just be a straight up wisdom check. If you look at your background for sailor, what is the ability for that?
I have. The ability. Oh gosh, let me check. Skill proficiency is athletics and perception. Tools is navigators and vehicle water. I don't see the ability.
Well, I figured out how to make the bar visible, but it's all wonky because of the sizes on this map. So, never mind. What was the question, Bref?
I don't see an ability for Sailor. I see skills and tools, but not an ability.
Most of the backgrounds have like a special thing.
I think
Oh,
sailors.
The ship's passage.
Ah, that would probably be it.
When you need to, you can secure free passage on a sailing ship, which
Wow.
is not the case here.
We did.
I guess you did.
We done did.
I mean, you didn't pay any money.
You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome.
Thanks, Brev. Pulled a few strings. Knew a couple people.
What
That
a
was a free ride.
Okay. So, I guess make a wisdom check and add your proficiency modifier. Well, proficiency is for a barbarian. Really.
I'll make the wisdom check and see how we do.
We'll apply it in this case.
Yeah, it's a 17 without, so I feel pretty good about that.
Nice. Okay. So for stepping up, you are going to get 1 temp HP. You will succeed, so you'll get a check mark. And you will get to go from a D4 to a D6 to a D8. Roll a D8. And add your wisdom modifier.
So that'll be 8.
The ship is repaired for 8 points.
We're in the 40s. All right. Akiri would like to, after that big fight, Akiri wants to make sure that everyone's okay. If that makes sense. Going around helping where she can. If people have injuries or anything like that, if she injuries that weren't healed magically, if she can.
There are many injuries. There are a lot of people suffering from malnourishment. There are people suffering from the emotional scarring of the experiences they've gone through, and there are certain injuries that haven't been completely healed.
Then Akiri would like to go around and see if she can help those people as best she can.
Okay. I would say that definitely could help you guys travel safely. So go ahead and make a medicine check, right? I think that's what you're going for.
Yep.
Okay. So you help the freed slaves. You help the crew members, the former crew members of the Steel Tooth Pack, and bind their injuries, and you are successful.
Heck yeah.
And you guys make a full day's travel, which is about the equivalent of 2 full days of travel. Over the course of the day, I'm going to ask everyone to make a perception roll. And this is for the whole day, so singleton bonuses aren't going to help.
Well, that's a 6. That's a 6 for breath.
Okay. It is good to announce your numbers, guys, because I'm often not looking at the chat. It's just
11.
a good habit to have. Thank you. Okay. Well, 6 and 11 aren't great, but we do have some higher numbers. So, Equitas, you are going to notice something. Winged things in the far distance behind you. Only occasionally visible. Only occasionally visible through the clouds and occasionally, at least early on, smoke up in the sky.
I'm going to point them out.
Now, you'd really think that Akiri's parents would have stopped following us by now.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was them. You guys want me to go check it out?
The rest of you perceive the terrain that you are going over. You leave some desert behind, it stretches on, flying over it in your airship, which occasionally leaves crumbled bits of itself behind. You pass over a stretch of the desert with many ruins poking up half-broken towers and archways, tiers of structures coming out of the sand and rocks.
Who wants to bet those are haunted?
Eventually, as you swiftly fly over, the desert begins to give way. There starts to be more evidence of plant life. And you pass into or over grassland. The occasional tree breaking up the landscape below. All in all, it feels like a much safer way to travel. But for those winged things behind you.
Do they seem like they're following us, or do they seem like they're minding their own business?
With a 19, they're so far away, it's hard to tell. You can say with confidence that they aren't making a beeline for you.
Okay.
But as you guys are discussing and joking that it is Akiri's parents, which I'm taking as canon, with your high perception, you can tell these winged things, it's a trick of the distance, but they're way, way bigger than an Aarakocra.
I don't think that's your parents, Akiri.
I'm not sure whether I'm relieved or terrified.
Yeah,
Do we have some sort of spyglass on the ship?
Just like lying around? No.
Right, okay. I say we keep our eye on them, but unless they start coming to us, maybe we should not bother them.
No, I think that's absolutely the right move. We keep an eye and we don't engage unless they engage first.
I mean, I think that's just general advice for traveling in the wildlands.
Isn't that just a normal modus operandi, anyways?
Well, I mean, I was saying, like, let's not even try to get any closer and get a closer eye on them or anything.
Well,
Yep,
now that
we're
they're
all in agreement on that one.
yeah, let's not.
100% same page.
Well, okay.
I don't normally show you guys where you are on the map, but the opportunity to have a tiny ship on the map is winning.
Yeah.
Max is just like, ooh, toys.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, fun toys.
Well, I'd like to do something for the next travel period if we're getting close to.
Okay, I'm gonna mark off a day. If you guys, if you are comfortable with that.
Doing so.
Okay. It is now the 24th of Fiexi, a triumph day.
I'd say today is definitely a triumph day.
Okay, so go ahead and if you guys are setting up watches for the following night, please everyone roll a perception roll.
I think we still should. I mean, I'm glad that nobody
Yeah.
has tried to kill us yet, but I don't necessarily trust the entire crew.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, and it's even if we did, things can fly. Like the thing that put a tattoo on our back, a Bernie hot tattoo.
So yeah.
Perceptions.
So you just want one from all of us? Hey, that's better.
8.
20!
19.
Kiri continues to not roll perception to save her life.
Okay. In the night, it passes uneventfully. But during your watches, Bref and Bella, you both notice you're not quite sure, but it might be lightning strikes in the distant mountains to the north and west. And then it is the next day. Unless you guys want to do something that night, we will continue. are you guys going to continue traveling in the same northwesterly direction?
I think so.
I believe so.
'Cause we're aiming for
410.
410, so it may be another day and a half at this point.
Yeah, probably 2 more days. Day and a half, yeah, you're right. We do know that there's a city ahead of us, right?
Looks city-ish.
We should probably go up as high as we can, just to avoid any unnecessary hostilities.
Makes sense to me.
You guys, sorry, are you continuing northwest?
Yes.
Okay.
And increasing elevation as much as we safely can.
Oh, okay. Are you going to do anything special with that, or just maintaining a, around close to 500 feet up?
Yeah, about 500 feet,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going high.
All right. Good to know. Are you, what else are you guys doing? What actions are you taking to try and ensure a safe journey?
Bella, you said you had an idea.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Okay, so is there like a captain's quarters type area? Like a room?
Yeah. Sort of to the stern of the ship, there is a somewhat larger private cabin. It's not, it's not super fancy.
That's fine. I'm gonna search it thoroughly, like for a couple hours.
Okay. That will not help you guys travel safely, but go ahead and make an investigation check all the same.
25.
Oof. That's really pretty.
You find that this room must have been taken over by the first mate. Chip Vicious.
Wow, that little butthead. He just moved right in, huh?
You find a whip, cat o' nine tails.
We should have a ceremonial burning of it.
You find a chest with clothes, some small change, not significant treasure, coppers, and a few silver.
I'm not really looking for treasure. I'm more just kind of trying to look in places where there might be like correspondence.
You find that there is a desk that is bolted to the floor to keep it from tumbling when the ship is rocked by the wind. And in a drawer in the desk is some papers. I said that plural. Is a stack of papers that looks like, upon a 25 investigation check, the top paper has impressions on it from when it was used as a backing for someone writing on top of it.
Awesome. Those
Pressing.
are kinds of things I was looking for.
Pressing hard with their quill or pen.
I would like to take a piece of charcoal and make a rubbing.
Okay. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to contain the whole message. Because they didn't... Presumably Chip Vicious didn't press down equally hard on every word.
Oh,
But you are going to get a you are going to get a few phrases and words in common.
Alrighty.
You can't tell who the letter is addressed to, but you find the following phrases. Bards with a capital B. Duke Rothdal. Ship. Payment. Kidnapping. And spirited. And you do find the signature Chip Vicious.
Wow, that's a whole lot. All right. I think that I would like to talk to some of the people who are on the ship with us right now. They shipped out from Westhead, they said, which I thought was pretty convenient, but now I'm kind of interested to know, like, why and when and who.
Hold that thought, because you were doing this while other people were doing something to help make sure that you guys moved safely along.
Yes.
Unless nobody's doing that.
Before she had to leave and take care of children things, Mavra said she kind of wanted to not actively intimidate necessarily, but just be around the crew members to make sure they don't get any funny ideas.
What is she going to do with the crew members? Just to intimidate them?
Yeah, kind of be like a anti-mutiny agent.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I guess she's going to be rolling Intimidate to keep the Steeltooth Pack members in line. That makes perfect sense.
That's a 13.
That will succeed because they are already not particularly, they're not being mistreated. So they have, and they don't see a big upside to making a play right now. But the Steeltooth Pack members, you will notice that they tend to congregate together, while the now freed slaves, now that they've recovered at least 1 day's worth of not being in a cage, also kind of group up and keep to themselves. And Orinar is trying to kind of go between you and them, and trying to kind of keep everyone's spirits up. There's a lot of desperation that is starting to set in as people realize that although they are not going to be sold, they have nothing at the moment. And that feeling spreads to the Steeltooth Pack, but Mavra barely succeeds in kind of keeping them afraid. More afraid of you guys than they are of anything else. Okay. So, Bella, you can jump back in if you wish. I just wanted to get at least one check out of the way.
Well, I guess I guess I'd like to talk to the slaves and maybe do like a gather information type thing to figure out like where everybody's from. But I'm particularly interested to know what the situation is with, like, if there's anybody from West Head, if anybody knows about like the general political situation there. And I'd also like to talk specifically to Mercy, who said that she onboarded in West Head, and get some info from her on what they were doing there in the first place.
Okay.
So I guess I'll roll something.
Well, so there are 8 former slaves, including Orinar and Sarah. I described some of them, I believe.
Yes.
To whom do you wish to speak?
I guess I'll try my luck with the male elf. I can speak to him in Elvish. They like that.
Okay. So you speak to Vanuath Suithrassus.
Yes, I do.
Easy for you to say.
His shirt and pants are stuffed with things he has picked up from around the ship in the last 24 hours.
Amazing. That makes me want to talk to him more.
He's got bits of papers, rope. It looks like he has a sextant. There's a couple of like wooden spars that are used to pin ropes in place. Various things like that. He, as soon as you start talking to him, he immediately starts complimenting you, saying, "My dear, you are the finest adventurers and the biggest of hearts that one could ever hope to meet. I am extraordinarily honored to be rescued by all of you, as the fate of all of us was too terrible to contemplate. And if at your earliest convenience you could use this flying contraption to drop me off as close to my home as would be convenient, I should be forever in your debt, and so should anyone of the family Swithrasus."
Make a history check on that name.
Certainly.
19.
Okay. Of all people, you have actually heard this name. We got a 19?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't know his specific family name, but you know it sounds somewhat familiar. And you can pinpoint the region as being from a forest dominated by elves in the Atevaria dynasty to the south.
Gotcha. Okay. That gives me something to work with. I'll say, well, my goodness, you do seem like you're very far from home. I'll admit that we were heading to Westhead, just hoping that dropping everyone at a major port would be convenient. But I'll certainly talk to the rest of the crew and see if we'll be heading in that direction. I'd ask what brings you this far
I've been
out?
taken far from home. It is. It has been difficult. In all of my years of living, this has been the most difficult thing.
Was it the bandits who brought you out this far?
Although I did, it is not the original group that took me, that was going to sell me, but that was many months ago now.
Well, we'll certainly do our best to get you as close as possible, whether that means taking you there ourselves or getting you onto a ship back home once we hit the port.
I understand. Well, whatever you can do would be greatly appreciated. And forever in your debt, as I have already mentioned.
Certainly. No, I absolutely understand the urgency of needing to get back home. You understand, I'm certain, but I'm responsible for a few people here spread out all over the country, and I wish that I had the time and the enchantment to get you all home safely, but unfortunately we're going to run out of time on this ship, so we're just doing our best to get everyone to safety before we are forced to land.
Yes, of course. There are many problems you adventurers have that are beyond us common folk, but I thank you for all you have done already, and look forward to making passage home again. Perhaps with better hope for the future.
Alright, so he was totally useless. I don't say that out loud within earshot.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll try talking to Mercy then, because she's actually the only person who I know for sure is from West Head.
Okay.
I mean, I'll go around and talk to everybody, but we don't necessarily have to make that happen.
Okay.
So Mercy, I think, is the only other person who I know so far is going to be able to give me good information, possibly.
Right. So she is afraid and intimidated by you, and you would immediately suspect that she is not particularly inclined to be forthcoming. But she'll kind of sulk and give you this sullen glare, thumb her throwing axe. What do you want to know? What do you want to know, Captain?
Well, I'm interested in West Head. We were heading there ourselves, and I'm curious to know. You said you onboarded there. Are you from there originally?
Dunno what difference that makes to you, Captain.
Oh, I'm just being friendly. This is how you have a friendly conversation. Um, we're traveling there because, as it happens, I'll tell you a little bit about myself in order to establish rapport. My mother is there putting on a large production in honor of the Duke, and I understand that that's rather a controversial thing.
Why? That's very fancy and very nice for you.
No, she's not a very fancy person, but I'm going to be there visiting family, and I guess I'm curious to know if you will be also.
My family's the rats. On the ropes. And in the pitch-stinking alleyways.
Is that, like, your family name?
Means
Mercy.
we don't go to fancy plays with fancy dukes who fancy themselves kings.
I see, so this Duke is a little bit of an upstart. I don't suppose that, I mean, everyone likes to imagine themselves having a little bit more power than they actually do. But I've heard that this Duke has inspired people to go a little bit beyond that. I don't suppose you'd know anything about that.
I guess if he's rich and he has control of the garrison, don't much matter, do it?
I suppose not. I mean, if someone managed to infiltrate the garrison, that would be a different matter altogether. But
Aye. You sound a bit like the other captain, begging your pardon.
no problem. I understand it takes everybody a while to get used to a change in management. I really appreciate how relaxed everybody has been about me taking over your ship like this. I honestly thought it would be a lot worse.
Aye, very relaxed. We're all just wondering where you be taking us, Captain. No disrespect meant.
Oh, yes. As I said, we were already heading to West Head, and we thought that seeing as, you'll probably be interested in seeking new employment, as well as, everybody else on board here, that would probably be the best place to drop everybody. You can get on board another ship. You can travel from there and find passage to another major city if that's what you want.
Well, that's mighty generous of you.
We're just trying to make sure that everybody winds up where they want to go. So, this other captain was talking about infiltrating the Dukes. I don't have any particular dog in this fight. I'm just
I wouldn't know
curious.
anything about that.
Because, I mean, the reason that I'm saying this is honestly kind of trying to... I know that you're probably in the middle of sort of a career flux at the moment, so to speak. You're not really sure maybe what you're going to do next. Are you going to continue to be a pirate? Are you going to go start your own slave company? There's a lot of different options that are open for you at this juncture. And now I've heard that if you take that kind of information, should you have any such thing, to somebody who would pay handsomely for it, you might be able to set yourself up with a business that's a little bit less likely to get you captured. In fact, if you were talking to somebody, if you made friends with somebody who knew somebody who had the ear of the Duke, or somebody who was close to the Duke, especially if that person was inclined to think that you were a friend of theirs and that, perhaps they wanted you both to stay on each other's good sides, they might just introduce you to the Duke for free, and then you could pick up that reward, and that person wouldn't have any interest in even a finder's fee.
Make a persuasion check.
That's a 21.
You're a fast talker, but I think I can follow your logic. So you're saying you might remunerate me for my services, were I to assist you with a bit of knowledge about what's what?
I think something might be worked out. I mean, assuming that you have anything valuable to tell me, or anybody, maybe someone even wealthier than me in West Head.
Well, I don't rightly know, but mayhaps I can give you a few tips, if that's what you're looking for.
That is exactly what I'm looking for.
Right. Well, what kind of remuneration are we talking? She's starting to warm up to you a little bit.
Well, as you so cleverly pointed out, I'm reasonably well connected in West Head, and my family even more so. I would be more than happy to get you set up pretty much anywhere you wanted, um, depending on, again, the value of the information. We could talk about just giving you money to set up your own business. We could talk about introducing you to people who you wanted to meet. The possibilities are really endless.
Right. Well then, I suppose it won't hurt to tell you that there's some feeling about the old royal family, what is now been deposed, and that Lord Rothdal, Duke Rothdal, has somewhat taken their place. Looking to set himself up, they do say. Become the king instead of just a duke.
Well, that can be good for some people and bad for others. What's the general feeling about what type of a king he would be?
Well, since he is willing to pay out money to folk like myself and the other captain, begging your pardon, in order to find things for him, to help him in his whatever it is, his takeover. Seems a not too scrupulous fellow.
I see you're talking about privateering contracts. Am I correct?
Aye. And worse, they do say.
Goodness. What kinds of things is he having brought back, if I may ask?
They say Lord Rothdal's afraid of death.
Well, I think that would describe a lot of people.
And is willing to meddle with things what any decent bandit oughtn't. Dark magics and the like.
We certainly wouldn't want to be indecent bandits.
You can make fun if you like.
No, I'm not making fun. I'm 100% on the same page with you. Don't we both not want to be indecent bandits?
You can poke fun if you like, but decent folk don't go messing about with the pyramid, the thing in the woods outside of the city. It's got a funny name for it. It's kind
311.
Got steps on it. It's got a funny name.
Would it be a ziggurat?
That's the one.
Uh-huh.
It's a bad place. Full of remembrances of folk what are dead and should be probably forgotten, says I.
These would be people from the old empires.
No doubt.
Wow, that's rather alarming that he would be involved in those sorts of things. And he was paying your people to go and fetch these items for him?
Not my people.
Oh, your employers?
They say he got hold of something from in there. Spent an untoward amount of time among the dead. Came back changed. Different. They say he's not quite a man anymore. And not worthy of being a king. Especially with what has happened to the De La Fontaine.
And what is that?
The De La Fontaine family was the old royal family of Westhead. For Duke Rothdal, some say he did him in. The official word is things like accidents and infighting. Load of crock, if you ask me.
I mean, that's pretty suspicious. I don't know how big the Delafontaine family was, but they can't all have died in accidents. Different accidents.
More suspicious smelling than a kettle of fish.
The most suspicious item in the world.
Well, they say that if Rothdal takes over completely, he's got ways of being a king forever. And they say he's got a thing for poetry and plays, like your mother's doing. And wants to make himself greater, more than, bigger than a man.
Is he a great patron of the arts?
I don't know what that means.
Does he, like, pay a lot of poets to, you know, write poetry for him and about him and stuff?
About him, maybe. Dunno, there was some thing about some kind of light play. I don't know.
Right. All right, well, that's all good information. Well, I will leave you to it. You go ahead and give some serious thought to what you want to do with yourself once we get back to Westhead, because the world is your oyster.
I'll do that. Thank you, Captain.
My pleasure. Thank you for giving me an idea of what we're stepping into. And I'll obviously convey the broad strokes of this to the rest of the people.
On that note, let's take a very short break, just a couple of minutes. And we'll be right back with more talking to pirates or something. Alright, back shortly.
Max, I totally realized I forgot to do.
And we're live. Okay, welcome back from break. So, I believe it is still the 24th. Yes. It is actually about midday. And I will note two things. Who else is gonna... I want to know who else is gonna jump in to try and help you guys have a safe journey this day. And I also want Bref to know that he feels a little out of sorts.
In what way?
You
Am I,
feel
like,
sick.
nauseous?
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, you feel nauseous, and your muscles ache.
I got the flu, you guys.
If that's what you want to call it. I know what's up.
Do you?
I do. Oh, I definitely do.
I don't think he's seasick.
No, he's not.
Okay. Jeremy knows what's up. I don't know what Bruff does.
So, Bella, you just finished having this conversation. You shared around some information. Was there anything else you wanted to do
Yep.
with that? Okay. Is anyone else jumping in to help you guys travel safely?
I mean, I don't. You said. I guess I'm pretty much sticking to my study in the seal. Is that right?
Mhm.
Or can I try? Okay.
If you make a
Alright.
check, then you will. It will not
Lose.
count toward your week of
Yeah.
training.
I think I need to spend that week because it's going to run out on me. I mean, I've got something I could try, but I really need to stick on that, really.
There is something a Kiri could try. She could, using like the position of the sun and the stars and possibly even landmarks. Is there any way she could make sure that they're going on the right track, like the right direction?
Yeah,
Preferably using survival.
absolutely.
Heck yes. $21.
Akiri, keeping a weather eye out, and occasionally hopping off the ship to fly alongside it. The thing you'll notice is just with your survival check of 21, how much more dangerous this wilderness feels. This whole region seems wilder, more untamed, perhaps more dangerous than any of the places you've been to before. It really started when you were near the bandit camp. But as you traverse this terrain, flying high overhead in your airship, the Owl's Talon, you get the strong sense that the dangers, the creatures here, are greater.
Guys, I think we stumbled into a high-level area.
That's what I was just thinking too.
This is the furthest from Toreen you guys have been this game.
This is the furthest from home Akiri's ever been.
And that. You will travel safely. The entire day, keeping your eye out, about 40 miles or so. The terrain below changes from grassland to forest, and you're flying kind of in a low forested, not that low, but like rolling hills of forest between tall mountain ranges off to either side, the north, east, and the southwest. Particularly one mountain down to the southwest that you can see from a far distance is snow-capped. Although all the mountains are somewhat snowy this time of year, this one in particular rises high above the land. The most interesting thing you see below you as you pass over this forest, of which I believe you do not know the name, is a fortress in the woods. it is... although you occasionally see, structures and settlements out here in the wildlands of all kinds, this forest is particularly notable because of its size and scale, and the way it is worked into the trees, as though the forest has been dominated by the beings here. Massive swaths of forest kind of clear cut and built into these enormous wooden palisades and battlements. And the scale of everything is quite impressive. You would notice that it is probably built for beings larger than yourselves. And you do see some green-skinned figures down below. Hard to really get a good look at this distance, but they are wiry and enormous. And green among the trees. They blend well. There's definitely a bit of a commotion in this massive fortress when you fly overhead. But they don't, since you are using survival so well, and as well as keeping your crew under control with intimidation from Mavra, you don't run into... They don't manage to... You're past the fortress too swiftly for them to mount any sort of attack against you. But go ahead and roll a perception roll. Anyone who is looking over the side and is interested. Okay. Bella is first. You pick out several large paddocks among the trees. Big open areas that have been cleared of trees with these large fences around them. And inside them are these kind of silvery horses with horns.
Unicorn heist.
That has made both me and Akiri incredibly happy.
So they're definitely corralled in these areas. Something about it strikes you as deeply wrong. Hard to put your finger on it. But you fly on by and leave that odd fortress behind in the forest. And soon you're passing over the unbroken canopy of trees once more. Okay. Then it is... That was a full day's travel. The sun sets. Do you guys want to do anything anything special? Are you going to set watches?
Probably should.
I agree.
Okay. Who is on first watch?
Carrie will take it.
Okay. So as the ship goes down for slumber, the crew and the passengers go to sleep, including the very appreciative elf that was spoken to by Bella. Akira, I'm going to ask you to make a perception roll.
23.
Akiri. Everyone goes to sleep. You smell something in the air. As the Lost One passes overhead, meandering its unpredictable zigzag path over the sky. It's hard to put your finger on why. Looking out over the moonlight-touched tops of the trees down below. But your hair raises. Or your feathers. What do birds do when they're scared?
They actually get smaller. Like
You get
they
people bumps.
that too. They like slick their feathers in so they look
All
smaller.
right. You're covered in goosebumps, and
Pigeon bumps.
you feel yourself instinctively kind of hunching down. It's hard to put your finger on why.
Would a Carrie have? Do you think she would recognize what's going on?
I have never said that you guys, need to keep. If I ever need you guys to keep. If I ever need you guys to keep player knowledge separate from character knowledge, I'll try to be explicit about it.
Okay.
So, for example, Bref's dream, I didn't need to say anything because he was like, I tell everyone the dream. Right?
Yeah.
So, part of I think, good players, which you guys all are, tend to overcorrect a little bit in fear of metagaming. And I think it's okay to accept that part of the game is a challenge to you, the player, to figure out things that are going on. And you don't have to make it any harder on yourself than it has to be.
So you could sometimes put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
So Curious just like, what's the face of the moon? Oh. Oh.
Okay.
Oh dear. She's gonna go find Bref. This is a terrible idea, but she's gonna go find.
At this point, she goes to find Bref. Bref, could you roll a d20 for me, please?
That's a 6.
And also, Curie, just like, what's your AC?
Fortunately, it's decent. It's not like a fair chance against Bref decent, but it's decent.
You'll be fine. Barbarians don't have proficiency with claws.
I do.
Well, exactly.
Crap. Now Kiri's gonna turn into a weird something. And you'll never be able to stop her. I've got some tricks.
Akiri.
Yeah.
You go to the place where Bref was sleeping. Bref, would you have allowed Orinar to take the bunk next to yours?
I think I would have been fine if he was in the same room. I'm not sure, just because we haven't. Bref is still feeling very. I'm feeling very conflicted about. He kind of said like, my life has changed, and then as soon as we escaped, he was like, little lost puppy, and so he's like, how much of that was it just to protect Bref, and does he not trust Bref to protect himself, and all that to say, I don't know what the setup is.
And he hasn't confronted you the last few days.
Yeah.
He's just been kind of following you around like your shadow, and then leaving you to go check on the slaves and Sarah and etc.
So I would say if there was a common room, that would be fine. If it was like, I don't imagine there's a lot of private cabins, so we certainly want to be like, I'm gonna be in a private room with any one person.
Okay. Could you roll a D100 for me, please?
#21.
Okay. Akiri. You get to Bref's bunk. He's not there.
Bref? Bref, you here, buddy?
Make a perception roll.
$19.
See, now you're getting those perception rolls.
Finally, first time this whole campaign.
You hear a noise. A soft yet heavy tread. Just up on some stairs out of the room.
Akiri's gonna find Orinar, grab him, and say, "Hi, need help." And he's your buddy.
You run to the next sort of slot over. Orinar's bunk is empty.
All right. She's gonna go sneaky sneak after the footsteps she heard.
Okay.
Just like very carefully, very
As
quietly.
you cross back in that direction, you spot some wet tracks. Wet footprints. Humanoid. leaving Orinar's bunk.
Can I follow them?
Would you rather follow those, or it's in a different direction from the padding footsteps?
If they're in a different direction, that's fine. She'll follow after Breath.
Okay. You follow what you assume are Bref's stealthy, soft footsteps.
Bref is famously very sneaky.
Bref, make a new D100 and D20 roll for me.
Nice! Nice.
I
That's a 17 and a 69.
Okay. Akiri, make a new perception roll for me, please.
15.
You follow the sound up onto the deck and over to another part of the ship with bunks. This is the area where Bella and Equitas are quartered. And this is the... I don't know, Bella, would you have been in the captain's cabin? What passes for the captain's cabin? Or a regular bunk?
Probably regular bunk. I don't want to be a jerk.
So this is basically the other side of the ship, but on the same level. And then you lose track.
She's gonna freeze and realize, oh, I don't know where he is. Oh, dear. And how close is she to, like, Equitas's or Bella's bunks?
Pretty close.
Within, like, quickly running over and grabbing them distance?
Sure.
Okay. She's gonna go over and wake the both of them up and say, hi, shh, be really quiet, because Breath's a tiger again.
Okay. Do you know where he is?
Here somewhere.
Hell yeah.
Like in this room?
Yeah.
Shoot.
Okay. What about Orinar?
Other direction. His footprints were wet.
Wet.
Yeah. I think it was water. I hope it was water.
Okay.
What else would it be?
I mean,
He was bunking next to Breath.
Okay, we're gonna need to have some basic biology lessons, but later.
That was also one of my suggestions, but I was really hoping.
Jeremy, new D100 and D20 roll, please.
$53 and 2.
Okay. As the three of you are talking, I'm going to ask you for new perception rolls with disadvantage.
from everybody?
The three of you. Gary,
right.
Equitas, and Bella.
Yeah, 10.
13. Oh, thank you, Bella.
17.
Bella, as your friends are talking You hear a noise from below decks. From a lower down deck. It sounds like ripping cloth.
I'll direct them to it. I'll kind of like say shh and point downward. I think they're down there.
Both of them or just Bref?
I don't know which one.
Okay. Do we want to wake anybody else up before we go check?
Do we know where Mavra is?
Is Mavra around here somewhere?
Where would you like to bunk, Mavra?
I have no idea.
Front of the ship, back of the ship, somewhere unusual.
Back of the ship?
Okay. We'll say Mavra is very close by, just next door, right by the ladder that leads down to the lower deck.
Okay. Then
Cool,
let's
she's
wake
on the way.
Hold.
Yeah, let's wake Mavra up and go check that out very quietly. So, gonna open up the door to Mavra's and kind of, Mavra, wake up. We think Bref is turned back into a tiger.
It's
but
the
we
full
don't know where he
moon.
is.
I get up and follow.
And I guess we're gonna go down and follow what Bella perceived.
Okay. So you guys start climbing down the ladder and stuff?
Yeah.
As quietly as we can. Yeah.
Oh, you would like to roll a stealth check, Equitas?
Oh, well.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All of us or just
I've
him?
got a big old +1.
He's
to
the
that.
one who said as stealthily as possible.
Yeah.
As
Oh,
quietly as
well.
possible. Well, it's not the quietest job as you make your way down. You're not really a ship's man, as you keep mentioning. But, I mean, I don't think any of the other three are trying, so you're probably the quietest. Bref, I'm going to ask you to make a new D100 and D20 roll.
Sorry, I didn't hear if you asked for both, but that's an
Yes,
8 for
yes.
the 100 and a 19 for the 20.
Thank you. Now, Maver, are you going along with them?
Yes.
You're not wearing your armor, of course, because you can't sleep in your armor. But all of you are kind of in your night clothes, except Akiri. The four of you clamber down into the hold. There are many things scattered about, just from normal, use. Nobody's been assigned to keep it tidy the past couple days, and everyone was celebrating. There are several boxes with bottles of wine marked product of Crystal Glen that you can smell the wine on the air. But you smell something else. The smell of meat. It's dark.
Fresh.
It's quite dark down here. So only Equitas and Bella can see. No, Maver can see as well. Only Akiri cannot see. So Akiri, you're pretty much blind. But the three with dark vision,
Yeah.
you can see an area on the other side where several boxes and bags have been torn open. And the salt beef and salt pork has been spilled out and half chewed and tossed around.
Oh, Bref, we needed that.
I would like to go kind of inspect, kind of look at the beef, the meat that's been tossed around, and kind of look. I'm going to look around and see if I can find Bref. Is what I want to do.
Make a perception roll.
Okay. 6.
No sign of Bref. Or of anything other than the four of you moving around down here.
I don't know, guys. I don't see him. I don't find him.
I'm going to go ahead and ask for an investigation roll to try and figure out what the heck is going on.
Okay.
Question. Oh, after she's done.
I investigate.
You investigate carefully. And it looks like a large animal has ripped apart the salt beef and salt pork. Much bigger than a ship's rat.
All right, well, that's about what I thought happened. But I don't see any more footprints leading off in a particular direction.
You don't really see any footprints, no.
Okay, my question. How many entrances and exits are to the hold?
Quite a few, actually.
Okay.
It's made to be pretty accessible. There's
Cool.
there's 1 fore, 2 aft, and 1 right in the middle.
Which one did we just come down? The
One
aft
of the
one?
aft ones, yeah.
Okay. Let's head to one of the front openings and see if we can see if that's... Because that's how I'm assuming he got out of here.
All right. Yeah, sounds as good as anything. Let's go.
You guys climb back up on deck. Your attention is arrested by the soaking wet fore part of the ship. There's a big puddle of water. It looks like the ballistae have been rained on.
Dang it, he melted. Orinar! And Kira's gonna call it pretty quietly. Orinar! You here?
Make a perception roll.
There's the perception rolls I know and love. 11.
You don't hear any response.
Gosh dang. I swear, if we lost both the people who know how to sail a ship, I'm gonna be real salty.
Well, not on an airship yet.
I'm gonna be real airy.
You're taking the wind out of her sails.
I approve of that pun. That was great. Alright, so
Do we
We
want to
have
just make
a-
a sweep of the deck?
probably
kind of
best.
fan out, and go from the fore down back to the aft.
Sounds good.
All right, the other two of you make perception rolls as well. Or other three of you.
12.
Six.
Shit.
We don't see anything. They're gone. We could be standing on top of them and we wouldn't know anything.
They are just walking along the deck.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Not really. Nothing else other than the puddle of water in the front of the ship looks to be out of place. On the top deck.
Can I carry go up into the sails and see if anyone or thing is up there? Or
Go
up
ahead
into the
and make a
masts?
perception roll. And actually, before you do that, I'm going to ask the other three of you to make Constitution saving throws.
Well,
Okay. Bella?
Sorry, just click.
You're all fine. Perhaps the adrenaline is keeping you going. Akiri, go ahead and make a perception roll. The halfling of the Steel Tooth Pack, remember that guy?
Yeah.
He is drunk off his ass in the crow's nest with 2 empty bottles of Crystal Glen. But there's no one else about.
For about 3 seconds, Akiri seriously considers throwing him out of the crow's nest, but then restrains herself and continues on.
Akiri, not everyone can fly.
She has more reasons than that.
There's nothing.
She's gonna land back on the deck and go, guys, how on earth do you hide an entire tiger on a ship and a guy who's soaking wet and not be able to find either of them? There's only so many places they could be.
I mean, I agree, but I can't think of where we could possibly look.
Although he'll probably be better in the morning, so we just want to keep doing watches and keep an eye out for him.
I mean, I'm worried about R&R. That's my biggest worry here,
True.
since we can't
Agreed.
find him either.
He and Bref have
A lot of
Not really.
unresolved tension between them.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily want him to meet Tiger Breath right now.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Also, since Bref isn't here, I had this great idea recently. We should lock those two together in a room and see what happens after this whole tiger thing is.
I like where your head is going, but we've got to make sure that they're not dead yet.
That's fair. That's for tomorrow. Do we want to wake everyone else up just so that we have more people looking?
I think we should go
Or
around
do
and
any-
check on everybody too.
Yeah,
that's
let's
good.
definitely check. But God, I'm worried about R&R. But yeah, maybe let's check on everybody and hope that maybe we run into them or him.
Okay. So one by one, you check on every bunk in the ship?
Yeah,
Just do like a quick
I mean,
sweep.
yes, I assume we could
Okay.
sort of split up a little bit and do that.
Okay.
Each take a couple of bunks.
The child wakes up during this process and starts crying and is eventually hushed.
Sorry, not sorry.
Do not let me try to calm him down.
Go ahead and make an investigation check. If one person make it and somebody can assist.
Bella.
Yeah, I vote Bella.
Bella. Heck yes.
There we go. All right, that's a natural 20.
Okay. It feels like the wrong moment to play your theme song.
Holy cow, those are some crazy rules right there.
You find most things are not weird or seemingly related to this. Bref is back in his bunk, naked,
Akiri looks away.
lying sideways.
Away
And
or facing us or away from
just
us?
face down on the bed.
Okay.
Why is that important? Don't answer that. The Orinar's bunk is soaking wet.
I wonder if you saw Bref got terrified and then really, really pissed himself.
And with a natural 20, you find claw marks and hair in the wood around Sarah's bunk. One bunk further along the row.
Is Sarah there?
Sarah is there,
Is she...
fast asleep.
Okay, but she is asleep. She's breathing or whatever.
How's her hair look?
It's changed color.
What?
It's a different color. It is bright pink.
Wait, she's an illusionist, isn't she? Well, we found one of them.
But and Urinar, even he was not in his bunk. Is that right?
No, but his bunk is soaking wet.
Right.
His cot and blanket and pillow, like they were dropped in a pool.
I have a thought. Could we go to where the puddle was, but underneath it, like directly?
Okay.
Is there anything weird?
It's a little hard to get directly underneath it because the ship, there's stuff there.
Right.
What are you looking for?
I want to see if there's more water. If that's basically what I'm looking for. More water.
Not really.
Okay.
But any more, and I'm going to ask you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. That's
Well, I'm going to wake up Bref.
Yeah, that's probably smart.
You shake his shoulder. He's burning hot to the touch.
Jeez.
He doesn't wake.
Isn't there a saying about not waking a sleeping tiger?
Or is
Not
that
a
the tiger
tiger.
by the tail?
Akira, you should do a heal check on him. He's got a horrible fever.
Okay. Akiri, I guess it's like, yeah, she does a fever check, I guess.
Take disadvantage for embarrassment?
Right? She is definitely not looking.
She's like taking his temperature.
Just like grabbing him by the foot.
Sure, make a medicine check.
16.
What a shame you had that disadvantage.
His heartbeat is going at 1,000,000 beats per minute.
Carrie's gonna whack her head on the side of her bunk like, I don't have calm emotions prepared right now.
And
Alright.
he's so hot to the touch, it's crazy. He's breathing in very sharp, short, almost panting in his sleep. Actually, with a 16, you can't help but notice, despite yourself, he is about 3 times hairier than he used to be.
Which is probably saying a lot, because I have a feeling Breath is a pretty hairy guy to begin with.
He has a lot more body hair.
Guys. Oh my god, I think I know what's happening.
I'm finally going through puberty.
It's
You joke about that,
time.
but do you remember what happened when you drank the whiskey?
All of you need to make a new Constitution saving throw.
Oh, that was a 1.
Akratos takes a point of exhaustion. Mavra takes a point of exhaustion. The other two are okay.
So, Bella, what do you think he's like starting to go through it, or is he coming down from it? Because I think last time I saw him before he went to bed, he had clothes on.
Yes, I think he might be coming down from it, if it's happening at all. But it's still nighttime, and I'm not really sure what would have caused him to turn back. And I think we need to figure out what's happening with Orenar.
Well, he's a weird creature, right? Isn't it the full moon?
Well, yeah, but last time...
It was a full moon. It was a weird full moon. It was a full
Right,
moon.
but it's still dark.
The moon's still out, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I don't know why he would still be a tiger.
Maybe it's a limited time thing? Or maybe he's still, like, kind of tigery? Because, like, look at him. He's so fuzzy.
About what time is it?
Make a survival check.
I'm so good at those. That's a big 8.
You have no idea, but you've been awake for hours.
Yeah.
I just woke them up, though.
How long do you think this has taken? You
That's
just
fair.
made an entire
That's
search
fair.
of the ship like 3 times.
That's fair. Okay, fine. I'll take that. Alright. So
I mean, if it's getting towards morning, it was my thinking is maybe this is him, and the fact that he's so hairy, maybe this is him coming down from it.
Eventually, you guys would notice that the moon has set.
The moon is what?
Set.
Has set. Ah, there we go.
So yeah, he's definitely coming down from it then. Alright. One mystery solved. Let's go solve our puddle jumper mystery.
Yeah, didn't you say there were footsteps, wet footsteps?
Yes.
Those have dried by now.
Those are dried by now.
Would I remember which direction they were heading in?
Toward the front of the ship.
Understandable. Alright. Let's go check out the puddle. See if it's A, still there, and B, if anything has changed.
Can I make a knowledge arcana check to see if there's any spells that would turn you into water?
He's just that powerful.
You can make a knowledge arcana check.
That's another natural 20.
What the heck?
Okay. There is something very weird going on with Orinar.
Oh.
This seems like some kind of blessing from the mercurial goddess known as a Feisty. And he may be undergoing some kind of transformation of his own.
I was gonna say it's weird that it's like at the same time, but then I realized moons and oceans go together.
Oh, so they're. Oh, so he was bit by werewater. Okay.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Absolutely, 100% what happened. So, now what? We have one solved, very fuzzy mystery, one soaked mystery still yet to be solved.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: if that's true, then he's probably reverting, also, maybe.
True. Let's go check out that puddle.
Okay. Okay, let's do that.
So yeah, we go back to where the puddle was.
Okay. It's still wet.
I'd like to do a more specific investigation around that area.
Sure. Make an investigation check.
15.
You didn't notice this before, but some of the ropes just over where you were originally walking are dripping wet as well. Some of the rigging.
Does it perhaps look like like a path someone might have climbed up?
Definitely.
All right, let's head up to the crow's nest.
It stops after about 15 feet up. Doesn't reach the crow's nest.
Acridus, do you have something like...
You can surmise that whatever this weird blessing of Umberlee or a Feisty was going on here, it definitely allowed this person to climb up in the ropes and hide when you were here earlier.
Weird. Alright.
Can I carry hop off the ship and do a quick once around the whole of it to see if there's any weirdness going on down?
You want to search what?
Like the outside of the hole, the bottom of the ship. Just do a once around the bottom.
Oh, you want to fly around the ship.
Yeah.
Make a perception roll. Nothing of particular note. The damage is quite extensive.
Okay. Kira's gonna land back up on that and go, alright, I didn't see anything that might be him underneath the hole.
New saving throw for everybody.
Guys, it's getting late.
It's actually getting early. The eastern sky is beginning to lighten.
I got a 10.
You get another point of exhaustion.
Bella, what the fuck?
Bella's
Just
fine.
really invested in this mystery, you
She's
guys.
really invested in the mystery. Akiri fails and Maver fails. So everyone except Bella has at least 1 point of exhaustion now.
Alright, I say we go to bed. Bella,
Alright, I'll go to bed, but
do
I
your
won't like
thing.
it.
I don't think I have a choice.
You don't-
I mean, I want to
You
find
don't have
over
to.
but I think I need to go to bed.
Yeah, I know I do too. Bella, you can, I guess, might as well stay up and warn everyone about what's going on. Or wait until Bref wakes up, I guess. So we have someone in charge at least.
Yeah, I'll stay up until Brett wakes up.
Be careful.
Please.
Just let us know. I don't care how tired I am.
I'll come get you if anything interesting happens.
Okay, so with only Bella awake, the rest of you go to sleep at almost 6 a.m. Having covered a lot of ground in a strange series of investigations. The sun rises not too many hours later. Are you guys getting up? What's the plan?
I would like to rest long enough to at least remove 1 level of exhaustion.
Okay,
How
that'll
long?
take you, through half the day.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna do that.
Okay. How about the rest of you?
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, so at least 3 members of the party are fast asleep. Bref. Another weird dream. You dreamt of red and heat and cold and salt and the taste of meat and a strange anger. You dreamt of emotions and feelings that you can't control, that you couldn't control. And you awaken stark naked on your bed
I mean, there's a kind of a 50-50 chance of that anyway.
You sit up, and your first thought, unbidden, is where is the old man with the orange hair? You don't know why he came to mind. Your mouth is dry, and there's bits of meat and salt crusting your lips and teeth. Make a Constitution saving throw for me. You still had a rest, but it was a strange rest. Your clothes that you were wearing are, like, destroyed. Torn apart. Okay. So, 3 members of the party are asleep and continue sleeping through the night. Orinar comes to you early in the morning, Bella.
Oh, does he?
Mm-hmm.
From whereabouts?
Below decks.
All right. What does he say?
He says, Captain, some of your friends are heavy sleepers today.
Yeah. You wouldn't happen to have any idea of why that might be, would you?
I would not, Captain.
I'd like to roll an insight check.
Just worried. Breath seems a little out of sorts. Not quite himself. He seemed like he was feeling sick yesterday.
Is he awake?
I think so.
Got it. Orinar, are you a particularly religious man?
Odd question. I suppose some might call me such. Why?
I've got the very distinct feeling that you're unusually blessed of the gods.
Well, that's what the pirates said.
Indeed.
That's what my sea brothers used to say, too. I don't know if it's a blessing.
What might you be referring to?
Just sailor stories about the goddess of the wind and waves.
I see. Well, it might interest you to know that there was a little bit of a kerfuffle last night, and we wound up making the rounds to check on everybody, and as far as I can tell, everybody is safe in their bunks. But you were nowhere to be found. Anywhere on the ship. We searched high and low until the wee hours of the morning. I was wondering if you had a habit of sleepwalking?
You must... Well, I suppose that's possible. I have been told of some strange things I've said or done while asleep. I did take a walk last night, just around the ship.
Did you notice it particularly wet last night?
Weather seemed fine.
Because when we went to your bunk, it was soaking wet as if somebody had dumped a bucket of water over it. And As I said, you were nowhere to be
You
found.
must be mistaken. Go check. It's dry. Maybe you were looking at someone else's bunk?
If you like, you can show me where you were sleeping.
Sure. He leads you to his bunk, which is exactly where you thought it was. It's completely dry.
Huh. Well, thanks for humoring me.
Of course. You people have dealt with stranger things, I'm sure. It might be just some odd dream or something like that. Maybe there was a freak rainstorm. I didn't notice it, but...
Possibly. You'll forgive me for being a little superstitious, but if you have any unusual dreams, I'd particularly like to hear about them, at least while you're in our company.
Okay. I don't think it's particularly unusual for me to have nightmares about slavery.
Yes, I'd imagine you'll be having those dreams for a while.
Well, I suppose we'd better get on with the business of keeping the ship running.
Yes, thank you. As I said, we were awakened in the middle of the night, so I'll let the rest of my friends sleep a bit so that they can catch up.
Right.
And I guess at that point I'm going to go talk to Bref if he's away.
Are you up and about, Bref?
Yeah, I mean, how am I feeling? Like, I know I was burning up. Do I still feel flu-like?
You felt like you did the previous day. Kind of achy.
Okay, so I mean, I'm probably a little slow, but I will be up and as much as I can doing normal duties.
Their dreams have been really affecting you of late. You had that whole vision the previous night. And then this night, although you didn't have as clear of a memory of the dream, it almost affected you even more. Well, what do you guys do?
Are the three of us still sleeping?
Yeah,
or-
what do you guys do for the next 6 hours while they're still sleeping?
I mean, I guess those of us who are awake, we can, because it's only about a half day's journey according to our map.
Okay.
So we can try and press on while they rest up.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go to Bref and be like, "Hey, buddy, how you feeling?"
Oh, I don't know if I caught something. Maybe at the moot. I feel real achy and just out of it.
Yeah.
Weird dream past 2 nights.
Yeah, conventions will do that to you. Look, I think that maybe you might have been a tiger last night. Do you remember anything about that?
Is this one of those bard things that I don't understand? There's a lot I don't understand.
You remember when we were at a Curious house
Yeah?
and you sort of blacked out in the middle of the night and we told you that we thought that you were a weird tiger?
Oh.
Yeah, that
Ah,
probably was last night. So,
that would
first,
explain the beef.
yeah, you got into some sausages. Only sausages, as far as we can tell so far, which is nice. Although, if you remember anything, let me know so we can check on everybody. But
I
everyone
think it
seems
was mostly the rich beef sausages.
those are those were really good, Bref. But you ate a lot of them, so good for you. Um, and you might want to talk to Orinar. Let him know. Maybe he's going to wake up next to a weird tiger in the bunk over from his. I didn't tell him anything. I figured that was your place. But I think it would be polite.
So I didn't hurt anyone.
I don't think so. Do you think you did?
I remember it was like a dream for me. And I remember dreaming that I was very angry. But I don't remember why.
Well, I'll, I'll tell you, Bref. It looked like you damaged some of the area around Sarah's bed, but it doesn't look like you actually hurt her.
Oh. No, that makes sense. That lines up. Yeah.
Yeah, but no harm, no foul. All right, well, if you think of anything else that is more specific, let me know. But like I said, we went around and checked on everyone pretty thoroughly last night, and we didn't see that anyone was hurt.
So is that why
Also,
everyone fell asleep?
yeah,
That okay? Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry.
no, it's fine. We just wanted to make sure you were okay. Does Orinar like turn into water?
Not that I know he controls water. I don't know if he turns in. I never saw that,
Hmm.
but we were separated for a while.
Well, he wasn't in his bed either, and we thought maybe he was with you. But now I'm not so sure, and wherever he went seems to have left a big old trail of water. So I'm just trying to figure out what that is, and he doesn't seem to remember either. So lots for both of you to think about, I guess.
Yeah, it might be something to talk about. I mean, if we turn in this boat, are we going to take them with us to West Head? I mean, it'll be an interesting few days.
I think that you should take a little while to have a conversation, maybe sort some things out, and come to a decision that makes both of you happy, or at least as happy as possible.
That sounds nice. It's just, I think I've come to realize life gets a lot more complicated than just what makes people happy.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes it's okay to think about things being different at different times, if you catch my drift. Just because there's not an opportunity for you to be happy at a specific time, just because things aren't working out, that doesn't mean that you guys can't get sorted as to how you would want to be in the future.
Well, it'll be interesting. He still hasn't been straight with me about who Sarah is, what Sarah means. And I'm not even sure what he means to me now. We've both been through a lot.
Yeah, but he's still your family, and regardless of what that means, it's always going to mean something.
That's true. I don't think he can join us coming around and doing adventures and getting scorched by dragons, but he's still going to be a part of my life.
Exactly. Even when you thought that he was dead, he was still a very important part of your life.
Okay. I think I need to go find him and have a talk.
Okay. I've been awake for 24 hours, so I'm gonna go sleep.
Well, that sounds like a good. Yeah, that you should do that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not totally sure that I can feel my hands.
Well, in that case, Orinar will make a check to pilot the ship safely, successfully. As Bella goes to sleep, and Bref finds Orinar at the tiller, at the helm, steering the ship safely. Some of you, as you're trying to catch up on sleep, awaken despite yourselves, as a voice in your mind reaches out and says, "Hello, travelers. What brings you to my realm?" Glancing out the portholes, you see, rising up out of the forest, 300 feet high, the tremendous obelisk. A strange spire of obsidian, marble, and other materials too mysterious to determine, with glowing runes inscribed up its length in green and blue. The very top of the obelisk, the kind of pyramidal tip, floats about 10 feet above the section of spire below it. And docked at various spots around the enormous spire are ships. 3 other floating ships of different sizes that loom impressively over you as you come flying up to this region. The clouds themselves lit up by the bright glow of the runes emanating from this tremendous obelisk. And with that, we will call it a night.
That was fun. An entertaining travel episode.
Excellent.
A multi-hour game of Where's the Breath?
And where's the water whisperer?
Yes, indeed. This game continues to take some interesting twists and turns.
I'm just glad not to have the most sinister boyfriend in the party anymore.
Oh,
Right.
kazing!
No idea what you're talking about.
Equitas is
At least we know what kind of magic he has.
I didn't know you were left-handed, Equitas. All right.
That's gauche of you.
Well, we will say goodnight. Join us for another session of the Wildlands campaign next week, hopefully, if all goes well. And that was another dramatic episode. Many aerial combat encounters bypassed, I will say, through some good rolling, and also attempted hunting down of something on board the ship.
It was breath.
Can I ask real quick?
Breath.
Did we get enough sleep to remove 1 level of exhaustion?
Yes, by the time you awaken with this voice in your head, that you have slept enough
Sweet.
to get rid of 1 level of exhaustion. Some of you have 2.
Equa just said 2.
It was an exhausting night. Alrighty. Well, thank you to Jeremy, player of Breath. Thank you to M, player of Akiri. Thank you to Paul, player of Equitas. Thank you to Danielle, player of Mavra. Thank you to Kirsten, the lovely player of Bella. Good night, all. Thank you so much. You're awesome players.
Night.
Thank you to the Mathno Screen Name and Grimslag, both of whom were in the chat tonight. Thank you to anyone who watches this later. You're awesome. Thank you to my lovely subscribers. That's all. Good night.